It is 18 minutes now before the hours. We welcome you back to Daybreak, and Jared and Jacob Johnson from Marble City Pharmacy. Our guests this morning, as always, our Monday segment on health. Today we're talking about something that is ouch.
Not pleasant.
Ouch is right.
Ouch is correct. Good morning.
Sunburn.
Sunburn.
We should never have it, right? You know, we know what it is.
Especially light-complected folk like me.
Yeah, why should we ever have sunburn?
This time of the year for that kind of problem, though, right?
It is a time of year, and as we get into summer vacation, and as a number of us are taking trips to the beach, spending a lot more time outdoors, it's a perfect topic for today, I think.
Y'all see a lot of that?
Not a day goes by at this time of year that we don't have somebody come in. And when you see them coming up the aisle, you know, where we can look up and see somebody coming, you're already hurting for them. They're walking very gingerly, and you know, even from a good 50 feet, you can tell exactly what's wrong because you can see the coloring, the lobster look coming up the aisle, and you know, this one's going to have a bad week coming up.
Yeah. Now, this can be very serious.
Absolutely.
Well, it can be very serious, and that's why there's so much fuss about it. Sunburn can certainly lead to things that would bother us dermatologically, like wrinkles and aging skin, but much more important, of course, sunburn can lead to certain types of skin cancer, even melanoma, which can be deadly.
Yeah. What are some ways that we can kind of look at this and enjoying the beach, enjoying the sun without getting in trouble?
So, okay. Things with sunburn, we got to talk about, you know, where it comes from, how to prevent it, and how to treat it. Where you want to start this morning?
Let's go with...
and who gets it?
And who gets it? Where do you want to start this morning?
Obviously, the sun rays are a real problem for some folks.
So what is a sunburn? Sunburn, real obvious. Burn you get from the sun. Okay, we're all geniuses. We got this now. Now, what happens? The sun emits ultraviolet or UV light. It comes down in two forms, UVA and UVB. It comes down to us from the sun. UVA is what causes our skin to age and look ugly. I'm not saying anything personally. And then UVB is what causes the burn. And unfortunately, some 80% of UV light comes straight through the clouds. So cloud cover has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to get a burn. So where does sunburn come from? UV light from the sun that comes down regardless of whether or not it's sunny or cloudy outside.
Jared, sunburn has ruined many a vacation.
Ruin many vacations. Sometimes vacations are stopped short, or you can't do what you want to do. Thinking about the persons who are most susceptible, you kind of alluded to this already. Persons with pale skin, your blonde hair, blue eye people. People who are pasty like Jacob.
You mentioned blue eye. What does that got to do with anything?
Usually the skin complexion goes along with that. It usually has a lighter complexion of skin. My son is actually like that. We have to be very, very careful. My daughter as well when they're out in the sun for sure. So, you know, it also matters the location that you're in. If you're in downtown New York City versus at Panama City Beach, then the intensity of the sun is going to be greater right there at Panama City Beach. It matters the time of day that you're outside. It matters the length of time you're exposed to the sun. And we can get into all that.
And it's not just for the beach. I mean, you can work outside, construction workers or working in your garden or something like that and have a problem too.
Absolutely.
So we usually associate it with, I'm going on vacation, I need to take the sunscreen, or I'm going swimming today, I need to take the sunscreen. And then we're not considering the people that work outside all day, every day. They're not considering it, you know, but then they'll go to the beach and take sunscreen with them, but not think about it the other 364 days a year when they're working outside. Yeah. So it's something we need to think about on a daily basis.
Yeah. What are some stuff we can use, you know, to keep from getting burned?
Yeah, that's great. So we got prevention and treatment that we definitely want to get to. But when you're thinking about prevention of sunscreen, first of all, we want to stay out of the sun in the main times of the day when it's most dangerous. And you probably heard this before, but roughly between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. is when the ultraviolet rays are most dangerous. Some places you read will extend that out to 4 p.m., but definitely between 10 and 2 that area that time is most critical. Secondly, we can use protective clothing. If you think about this, it's pretty simple. The more areas of your body that you have covered up, the more areas of your body that you can protect. When we're thinking about things to wear, yeah, let me just bend over for you here. And when we're thinking about things to wear, wide brim hats. For those of us who are guys, you might look good in a traditional baseball cap, but guess what? That doesn't have any protection for your ears and for the back of your neck. So you want to get maximum protection, a wide brim type hat. If you're particularly susceptible, then long sleeves or long pants, and certainly sunglasses. You really need sunglasses that will block those UV rays. I mean, I love cheap sunglasses just like the next guy, but there are levels of sunglasses, so we need the ones that will keep those rays from harming our eyes for sure.
I remember, Jacob, a long time ago when I was younger, I went to Panama City and I got cooked. Came back to Silicaga, and this is the truth, I could not stand a fan to blow on me. It was so bad. I ended up going to the ER. So, there are some steps there that can really be worse than others. But how do you treat sunburn?
Well, first, let's go back to what you did when you went to the ER. It's important. 9 times out of 10, let's not go to the doctor for a sunburn. However, if you start having fever, chills, body ache from head to toe like you have the flu, all of that time going on, okay, it is time to go to the doctor, because then you got some serious issues to deal with. We need to protect your skin. And so there is a time to actually go to the doctor for a sunburn. And I see that multiple times a year. Somebody come in the store and first, this is great, and I can tell you but you need to go to the doctor first. You'll start having a lot of fever, chills, a lot of problems. So you had that. But to your question, treatment of sunburn. I would love to look at that poor lobster that comes in my store and say, I'm going to cure you in a day. That's just not the case. You can just very scarcely treat a sunburn. Things you already know to do. Put a whole lot of aloe type gel on. You can take anti-inflammatory drugs, aspirin, Aleve, Motrin, Advil. You can, use cool compresses, cool baths, those sorts of things. But the bottom line is, by the time you're burned, skin damage has been done, and it's going to take up to a week for your body to react and push off all those damaged skin cells and get past that. The burn will go away, the peeling will start, the peeling will go away. That's your body's reaction to the damage that has already been done to it by the ultraviolet light. And until the time allows your body to do that, all you're doing is just trying to make yourself feel a little better from the pain and chills and everything else that comes with it.
And a child that's sunburned, I mean, that, as parents and grandparents, man, that hurts you to see your child hurt.
It does. And I'll be honest with you, I've had the times where I felt like a bad father when I've had my children to get sunburned, particularly my daughter, just felt so helpless. Kids can be even more sensitive depending on the past of their sun exposure and, of course, their skin type. I'm glad you mentioned that, though. Just to be clear, if there's a child who's under 6 months old, children under 6 months old are not supposed to get sunscreen. These are babies. I mean, I guess some of this is common sense, but kids under 6 months old, basically we need to keep them out of the sun, period. And anytime they're in, we certainly don't need to be taking them down to the beach to play for a day. And if we do, they need to be totally covered up. Even the years after that, the months and the years after that, we need to be very, very careful and limit their sun exposure drastically.
We go to the beach or work outside and think, this is not going to happen to me. I feel good, and there's no symptoms of sunburn, and late in the day.
Famous last words. Right. Right. We all think, I'm feeling fine. I'm not seeing anything red. I'm doing great. And we all think that. And we all, let's face it, when you're as ugly and pasty as I am, you want that good tan. You want to look good, because tan covers up a lot of ugly. And I wish I could have that.
Takes the emphasis off his nose.
Right, correct. Well, it tries. It tries. It can only go so far. And so we want to look good, but we have to remind ourselves sometimes is what tan is. For a pasty guy like myself. Tan is my body trying to protect me from the dumb things I'm doing. Tan is my body releasing melanin to the surface of my skin to protect me from being dumb and staying out in the sun too long. That's what tan is. Now, Does it look good? Yeah. Would it make me a little more attractive? Hopefully. I would like to think there's hope out there somewhere.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, tan is actually your body's way of saying you're out there too much and we're trying to protect you from it. And so that's just, think about that sometimes when you're wanting that tan. It is your body's way of telling you you're out there too much.
You see this skin beginning to turn loose, and I'm just going to peel this off. People do that, and I don't know why, but it just kind of start peeling. Next thing you know, you got a wound right there from that.
Well, peeling's interesting. Peeling is the next step as your body is trying to heal a sunburn. Your body is literally trying to rid itself of the damaged skin cells. Now, not to get too deep into this, but your body's skin cells turn over every 21 days anyway for the average person, and that's why people who have skin turnover that's faster than that, that's what dandruff and psoriasis and all those things can be. But in sunburn, it's a little bit different even than that. Your body's trying to get rid of those skin cells that have been damaged, and so within a week or so, it'll start to peel and it'll start to itch like crazy. That's just a normal body function of your body trying to heal itself. Another amazing thing about the human body.
There are all kinds of sunscreens and that kind of thing, over-the-counter sunscreen and stuff. What do you recommend?
All right, so there's lots of things to consider. There are, I don't want to blow your mind here with too long, cream, lotion, gel, spray, stick, like the old glue sticks we used in school. There's any number of different ways to get sunscreen. There's SPFs from probably as low as 5 all the way up to 50 or even higher. There's broad spectrum, which is UVA and UVB. There's, again, the choices
water resistant,
ultra water resistant, not water resistant. Okay, so you see, we could stand in an aisle and just see 1,000 products. First, most important thing about sunscreen is using it properly. Has nothing to do with which one you buy. If you use it, at least 15, but up to 30 minutes preferably before you go outside. If you cover yourself in it, every exposed area, if you reapply every 2 hours throughout the day like you're supposed to, more often if you're swimming or sweating a lot, if you do that, I'm not as concerned with which product you buy, so long as it is what they call broad spectrum, treats UVA and UVB. And it'll say that on the bottle. It'll say broad spectrum, or it'll say UVA and UV or /UVB. That's the most important thing. Now, let's get to SPF. You got 15, you got 30, you got 50. That doesn't mean that 30 is twice as good as 15. 50 is not 20 better than 30. You get a little increase as you go up. Use at least a 15. The dermatological, boy, I tried that one too. Dermatological Society says at least 30. And I'd like to say everybody do at least 30. Two numbers, remember, 30. 30 minutes before you go outside, SPF 30. If you do that and do it right, you'll be fine. The other things are personal preference. Gels work better on hairy arms because you can't get a cream past the hair. Lotions, if you're covering a large area, going outside of the beach head to toe, lotions cover a large area easier. Creams can be more protective because they're thicker, but they're also greasier. It's good for people with dry skin. And sticks are good for the areas around the eyes, just like you're painting before you go to a baseball game, putting the eye black on. Sticks are good for the areas around the eyes. Lip balms, don't forget that. So again, it comes in a million different forms, and the most important thing is simply use it correctly. That's the most important factor by far.
You use some of the sprays and you spray in your face and it's getting in your eyes and your mouth,
breathing it in.
Yeah, the spray is both good and bad. The sprays I love to use on my children because it's just much, much easier to apply.
And you're lazy.
You do, well, correct.
Right.
You do have to be careful with the sprays that you get an even amount over all parts of the body because I guess it's easier in the sense that you're spraying rather than rubbing something in, but it's more difficult to get a proper coat with a spray. The other thing is, for you people who smoke, the sprays are flammable. And so can't be lighting up over here and then spraying your suntan, your sunscreen. We may have a problem with it being flammable. I do want to, like I said, I do prefer that for my kids though, because it's so much easier, so much quicker, especially to reapply after they've been in the water or after we've been outside for a couple hours or so. I do want to drill down for a second on the SPF. You may not care about this, but just for your information, SPF stands for Sun Protection Factor. Really, it's a theoretical number, and it's based on how long it takes you to burn when you're out in the sun. So SPF is different for all three of us. So this is the way it's kind of calculated. If it takes me 10 minutes in the sun to burn normally, and I get a product that's a SPF of 15, then you take 10 minutes that it takes me to burn times 15 SPF of the product, and I should theoretically be able to stay in the sun for 150 minutes. Is that 10 times 15?
That's correct. First time you right today.
I should be able to stay in the sun 150 minutes without burning. So basically what that factor means is just allows you to stay in the sun longer. Jacob kind of hit on some of this, but American Academy of Dermatology says you should have at least 30 SPF like he said, but this is just as important to remember. Once you go over 50, you kind of hit the law of diminishing returns. So there are products, SPF, that are 70, 90, somewhere in there. What you've done is you haven't given yourself really any more protection, but you've exposed yourself to more chemicals in a higher concentration. You increase your risk for side effects, skin irritation, and that kind of stuff.
And convinced yourself you don't have to reapply as often.
And you've convinced yourself that you're protected. That can be dangerous right there. Like Jacob said, the most effective sunscreen is the one that you'll use appropriately. So looking for an SPF between 30 and 50, reapplying every 2 hours. Make sure you do it properly. Protective clothing. That's as good as you can.
Last minute with Jacob and Jared Johnson from Marble City Pharmacy. A particular time of the day that's more prone to be burned?
10 to 2. 10 to 2. And in our part of the world, at this part of the year, you can extend that to 10 to 4. Based on where you are, as opposed to the equator.
Basically all day.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, all day you want to be outside, 10 to 4. That's
By the time you wake up at 10, it's already a bad time.
Right. Yeah, and so there's every time of day that the sun is out is a bad time.
All right. Jacob and Jared Johnson from Marble City Pharmacy, our guest. And if you have been out in the weekend and you've got kind of toasty a little bit, see these guys at Marble City Pharmacy. They can help you out with a full line of treatments and that kind of stuff. Appreciate you both for being here this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll do it again next month here on Health Monday here on WOIL TV 47. Hey, quick check on the weather forecast, calling for a partly cloudy sky today, and it's going to be hot with highs in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees today. So keep that in mind as you head out the door today. Just a slight chance of a shower, and more of that coming on later on this week as the temperatures heat up and the atmosphere gets more soupy and temperatures near 90 degrees by week's end. We got more Daybreak just ahead here on WOIL TV 47 and the Alabama Cable Network.